Hello to you and welcome to a new episode of exploring the world of complementary therapy. Here is Land of Reiki and Aroma. My name is Sol, and today we will be talking about communication, no violence communication. Stay with us, and we are just going to start. Hello to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. And today, as an introduction of this video, we are talking about no violence communication. And today I have a new guest, it's Grace, and I would like to introduce her and also welcome. And thank you so much to take your time to be in my channel to talk with viewers about no-violence communication, so important in our days. So Gracie, thank you, and can you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, thank you, Solange. This means a lot to me. Your invitation comes as an opportunity to spread the culture of peace, right? I got in contact with nonviolent communication when I was studying to be a mediator, a conflict mediator. And then I read Marshall Rosenberg's book, the one that developed the process of nonviolent communication, fell in love with all the process, and especially with the opportunity of creating a new way of interacting with everyone in my life, because I was suffering with conflicts. I didn't know how to handle them. We're going to explore as we go on with our conversation what wasn't working and the new vision of what can work. And so now I am an architect. And I had conflicts in my profession and in my personal life. And this came as I started the course just to be able to mediate my conflicts. And I fell in love with the mediation proposal. And now I work as a mediator as well.
Nice, very nice. Well, I think that everything starts when a necessity or a problem that you are facing, and with this trigger something, and the majority of people try to find a solution to try to finish with that or try to manage that conflict or whatever. So it's very nice. So with this, I go to my series of questions that I sent to you before. So what does non-violence communication, or NCV, stands?
NVC stands for nonviolent communication. So it's a good thing you brought this, because I'm probably going to be relating to nonviolent communication as NVC. And would you like to know what it is? Okay. For me, nonviolent communication is an intention of creating relationships that work for everyone. And what that means for me is when you consider the needs of everyone that is involved in your system and your needs, and try to find a way of finding the common, our human, the things that we have in common. We can create a world that works for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what NVC means. And NVC is not only about communication. For me, it's mostly about the intention of creating relationships where everyone feels that their needs are being considered, valued, and are going to be taken care of. So it's about language also. It's about, besides intention, right? It's about the way we communicate. It's about the awareness of what is alive in the other person and in myself, so that we can take care of that together. It's about influencing changes in the world that might contribute to a culture of peace. It's about the way we think and the paradigm, and shifting the paradigm that I think most of us live by, that is the domination paradigm, and shifting into collaboration paradigm.
Mm-hmm. And as you say, and also is a way that when we are communicating, no matter is there is conflict or not conflict, it's important to be totally present, to listen what the person is saying and to be listened to. But I think that in that way, only when you are totally present in that conversation, you can really grasp, or you can really understand what the person is telling you, or what you are telling to somebody, and that you are fully the person when you are fully aware what is going on. Because we can do many courses, and when you to put in practice, I'm talking with you, but I'm thinking about that I need to do the shopping more later, and we are not paying attention what we are saying for each other. So I think that in that way can help to is a training anyway, Grace.
Yes, it is. I think I'm going to say we, because I think that resonates for most of our listeners. We're not used to getting in touch with what is alive in us and what is alive in the other person. Most people, at least my experience is that most people, when they're listening to what you're saying, they are either thinking of the list, or the to-do list, or things that or they are trying to respond to what you're saying before they fully understand and check their understanding. And this is a proposal of NVC, that we check our understanding of what is important for the other person, and to give the other person the presence, the gift of our presence when we're listening to them. Mm-hmm. And also, I totally agree with you, Solange. It's so not common for us to be in touch with what's going on in us. Mm-hmm. And what's going on in us is not about the list of the supermarket, but it's how am I feeling now? What am I needing? What are my judgments telling me about what's going on? Because even the judgments can be a very powerful indicator of what's going on with us. Mm-hmm. For instance, if I think that someone is lazy, that they don't help me, perhaps I'm needing support. And it's not about them being something that I'm labeling them, but about what do I need right now, and why do I have this feeling that I'm not being, of perhaps helplessness, or I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling alone because I need support.
Mhm. Yeah, there is many things that included the person needed to during this reflection look more into them and see what is underneath of that apparently like a sense of anger, what is behind to that kind of thing, and sometimes we don't realize why we are acting like in that way, screaming and shouting like why I'm doing this, and sometimes the people explode in some conversation, well, discussion. We can't say there is a conversation. Sometimes it's just a monologue that people just screaming and shouting, and they try that another one and listen then, so is they don't feel that the another person is listening them, they not be here. So with this, who developed this technique, the NSC?
It was developed by Marshall Rosenberg.
Mm-hmm.
He left us in 2015. And he developed this process during the 1960s. And he was a psychologist because he wanted to understand, and he thought that by studying psychology, it would help me understand that why some people take pleasure in helping others compassionately, and why do other people bully other people. And so it was such a puzzle. And then he went to the psychology for graduation, and then he's also a doctor in psychology. But with all this nonviolence movement, and with some professors that he got in contact with during his studies, and other studies that he studied, comparative religions and everything, he came up with all this inspiration and other and the knowledge of other sciences. He gathered this process, gathered everything, and came out with this process called nonviolent communication.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It's like a type of protocol, no? That in the beginning, I don't know deeply. I just attend to I experience violence communication. I read the book too, but I think that is there is like steps that you need to in order to going to explore all that conversation, that trouble that is the person is on in,
Mm-hmm.
And
so about that, would you like me to say something about those components?
Yeah, because now is the next question anyway.
Okay.
What is the four main components exactly?
Okay. So what I like about the proposal of NVC is that Marshall not only invites us to be aware of the systems that are violent, right? Because when I say, when I play the game, as he used to call it, who's right? What we do is if there's something that we are not happy with, some behavior of someone, we go to that person and with the intention of telling them what they did wrong and that they need to change. Mm-hmm. And the person might even change their ways, but it doesn't mean that they're going to change willingly. Sometimes it's motivated by guilt, shame, anything but willingness and to contribute to make my life as Marshall used to say, wonderful. And then the result of that is a lose-lose situation, because even if the person changes and I get what I wanted, our relationship loses. It's a high cost for the relationship. So what the proposal of this, changing this paradigm of you are guilty, you need to change, and this is what you need to do, is, okay, let's see how we can make our lives wonderful. So this thing that you did, and when I say what the person did, I do it without any evaluation or judgment. I just say the fact as if it were being filmed by a camera. And this made me feel a certain way, then I expressed the feeling. And my need for, I don't know, support, let's suppose. And then we can explore what needs are later. My need for support wasn't met. So I wonder if you would be willing to do this. So I just named the 4 steps of what it's more about the awareness of what works than the steps themselves. So it's a process of knowing the difference and what causes, what may cause a disconnection. So if instead of bringing to you an observation is that is a shared reality, I bring a judgment like, you know, Solange, when you refuse to do what I asked you to do the other day because you're so lazy, so what kind of connection is that I want to build with you, right? So I just say, you know, Solange, the other day when I asked you to do this and you told me that you couldn't, that's a shared reality, right? I'm quoting what you said. I felt alone, or I felt helpless because I really needed support. I couldn't do it by myself. And I wonder if you would be willing, and then there are many requests that I can ask of you. For instance, I could say, you would be willing to tell me if that changed and that you can help me now, or you would be willing to tell me what was going on for you. So it's a way of creating a connection through some items or components that might be more aligned with my values and with your values and with what can create a real connection between us.
Okay, it's very important because sometimes when you put in that way, the proper conflict seems that melt because becomes so more facts. Because you, for example, in the example that you gave, you know, when you say it that way, seems that you are aggressive with someone, and you don't know exactly what's going on in their life to act the way that they did, and sometimes they did with no, because they are not thinking and they are not like automatic, moving from one job to another one, and they don't know what they need to do. I'm buried with work and you bring in more things for me. Now I can't do it. So you depend what is much better when you in the way that you say present the facts, and the one or the group of the people can understand what's going on and trying to find a solution for both.
Right. So it's important to be aware of the distinctions that each of these components are inviting us to be aware of. For instance, instead of bringing a judgment, I bring a shared reality. The other distinction is instead of bringing a thought or another judgment, I bring or a full, like Marshall used to call it, full feeling. I bring a feeling, for instance, instead of saying, I feel that you don't want to collaborate with me. That's a thought, it's not a feeling. Or if I say I feel used, it's a thought. I'm, in other words, telling you you are using me, right? So I just say I'm helpless. I am sad. I'm feeling alone. That's a real feeling. And then instead of bringing a strategy, I bring a need. A strategy would be, I need you to support me. I need to do it with the help of someone, or you need to support me. No, I say, this is about me. I am needing some support right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the request, the distinction about requests and demands. It's instead of saying if you don't, or threaten you, or saying with an energy that you might feel inclined to do what I'm requesting out of fear or out of guilt or shame, those things. I want to make sure that this request is going to be received by you as something that you can say no to.
Mm-hmm.
Because the no you're saying, just like you explained later that you were buried in work, right? Your no is a yes to some needs that you want to meet. So if we go to that common ground of needs, because all human needs are the same. So we have we have shared needs. They are universal. Then if I understand the needs you were trying to meet when you said no, and you understand my needs, we can perhaps go and find a solution.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, find a good solution for both. For everybody, that is because in that way, one of the questions you just answered to is about kind of saying about a little bit about feelings. That feelings is different in terms, like you say, is a sadness. You know, you feel sad, you feel alone. No, something that the people sometimes mix up about to tell the no mix up. They feel a little bit uncomfortable to say that I am sad. You know, they try to cover and put a lot of excuses, or I didn't sleep very well, or I don't know, my husband did something. But it's hard to sometimes the people say, no, I'm sad, I am not very well, or I feel alone, like you present. No, so they, instead to say the feeling, they put another, as you say, another thought that expressing.
And that probably is due to our conditioning, right? Because as a young child, if you were a boy, you were told that boys don't cry, get over it, okay, let's do something else. And as a girl, girls don't get mad, don't get angry. It's not nice to express your feelings. And then not only we don't express them later on in our lives, but we suppress them. Some people don't even know what they are feeling. It's so sad, right?
Yeah.
And they think that if they do know, it's going to be, it's so vulnerable for them. They're going to be perhaps perceived as weak or something like that, especially in the workplace, right? But the vulnerability, as Brené Brown says, it's a huge act of courage, right?
Yeah, is a yes, exactly as you say, is an act of courage to open that. But I think that a courage, and I think after is a sense of freedom, that you take it, that luggage that you are carrying on so for so long time, and you expose, and you feel, oh, I feel so much better. Oh, I say that kind of stuff that was like a ears in my throat to go out, né? Like a frog, né? That is just ready to jump.
Right. And also, can I add something? Do we have time?
Yes, we have.
It's something you said that it's so funny because there's a scientific study now that when you name your feelings, the part of your brain, the logic brain that is the frontal cortex, understands what's going on with you and then moves on and can think logically. And then it's a way, like you said, it's liberating. It helps you go into a state of being more able to think and choose your actions, right? Because if you are in your emotional state, all mobilized with your emotions, you sometimes end up regretting what you did because you were not thinking straight, right?
Yeah, and mainly when there is something powerful, like anger, for example, né? That is so powerful in terms of emotion, a basic emotion, and when you are totally hanging for the emotion, you don't think, you just shouting and go out of that fire that can devastate and can damage so much everything around, and you can damage the relationship. You can broke something internally, and sometimes it's not possible to fix anymore if it's so powerful in terms of you poison totally the relationship when you are in that degree, and when you lost totally the control about things like that. So what is a, well, we are going here, we talk about this, what is an example of nonviolence communication, we just did it. And in terms of training, so anybody can be trained, or you don't need to be trained, you just go to a workshop, or you just find someone that works with nonviolence communication and they will be guide you. How works in terms, like, as you and your experience of okay, because there are people now, no, I need to do a course to deal with my struggles, or I can just ask someone to come in, and how works this?
For me, I would suggest you have many ways of practicing NVC, but before that, I think you need to understand what it is about. And one way of doing that is reading Marshall's books or many other books that are available in the market. There are many other authors that, and there's the NVC basic book, quote unquote, written by Marshall, but also if you want to see NVC in education and parenting with NVC, there are many books written both by Marshall or other authors. There are also many YouTube videos with Marshall Rosenberg, and you can watch them because he gave many workshops and they were filmed. So that's another way of getting in touch with the content of NVC. And during his workshops, he proposes some practices that you can try to do it yourself with some situations in your life. Also, I think for me, it was very important to go to workshops and practice with other people, you know, the way that I would like to express something using the 4 components. And by the way, the 4 components is just an awareness of what might create more connection, but you don't necessarily need to name all of them when you're in a conversation. The intention is more important, right? The intention of creating a quality of connection that works for everyone. Workshops, you can also do some practices on your own, like, for instance, silent empathy. You see a situation, someone is telling you something, and this person is really angry, and you can ask yourself, what is this person feeling? What is this person needing right now? And if you don't feel comfortable interacting with that person yet, but at least you're trying to, to create a muscle of empathy and understanding what is alive with the other person. And then you can make agreements with people in your house or people that know NVC. Okay, I need to have a challenging conversation with this person. This is what happened. Can you help me through that? And you can role play. You do some role play with the person, and then ask for feedback. Oh, how did it land on you when I said this? Oh, perhaps there's a judgment there. You could change it to an observation. And these are some ways that I think could help someone practice NVC. Until the person, it's like Marshall used to say that NVC is for you to practice and get into the real awareness of what NVC is. You need to practice, and practice.
Practice. Ah, yes. To master anything, we needed to practice. Otherwise, as I was saying yesterday, how can you make a beautiful cake, or if you'd like to sell a beautiful cake, if you do just once and think that you're going to smash and you'll be selling thousands? If you don't know to do a cake, or it's the first time that you do, and so, or you give up, my cake wasn't very good, so I'm rubbish, I will not be making any cakes anymore. Well, you didn't try. No, it's just once. So how can you do it? So you need to practice and practice and to achieve the master, né? Because sometimes the people say, no, I mastered this. Well, you master means that you achieve the high quality of the things. So in our human being, I think that practice is something extremely important.
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you something, especially in regards to NVC, even Marshall said that there were some triggers that took him, to a place that wasn't aligned with his values. So I don't think, especially because we live in a world that speaks another kind of language, the wrong language, right? The paradigm of good, bad, right, wrong. So I don't think, at least for me, mastering, it's almost impossible, but I think it's an ongoing process, and you get more and more. You incorporate it along the practice.
Yeah, so it's more like a journey, né? That is a journey that really to achieve a high point. Okay, I'm the best, as I say about the cake, the best. We can't see that with the best, because probably there is someone that do depend of the taste, né, of each one. That would be, this is the best cake, but another one, no, this is not, is another one. So I think it's more about the journey that the final product. Anyway. But it's lovely to have you. We could be have this talking for a long time. I'm really, really happy that you accepted my invitation. It's lovely to meet you, and after we exchange some emails, and I hope that we can talk once again some different with examples or more things about the nonviolent communication here when you are more when you have availability for us. So for my listener, can you leave like how can we contact you, and will be very good. What is it, if you have, as we mentioned before, ask you if you have a social media, you say that you have an Instagram, what will be the name and email?
Yes, my Instagram is NVC in Portuguese, CNV Grace. That's it, all together.
Good.
So CNV Grace, and my email is Grace Deckers. So it's GraceDeckers @gmail.com.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much, so much. I am very pleased to have you here, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Thank you, Solange, by the invitation. Bye.